Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we are going to practice English in a very natural and useful way. We will walk through a whole day together, from the moment you wake up in the morning to the moment you go to sleep at night. You will learn how to talk about your day step by step. You will see simple sentences, useful words, and real examples that you can use in your own life. Remember, learning English is not only about remembering words or grammar, it is about training your brain to think in English. Every small step matters. Even if you make mistakes, do not be afraid. Keep speaking. Keep trying. Mistakes are proof that you are learning. Every time you try, your English grows a little more. You will practice describing your morning. For example, you can say, I wake up at 7. I brush my teeth. I make breakfast. I drink coffee and eat bread with butter. Then you will describe your afternoon. I go to work. I talk with my friends. I eat lunch. I check my messages. And finally, you describe your evening. I cook dinner. I watch a video. I go to bed at 10. By describing your day like this, your English becomes real and alive. It is important to speak every day, even if only a little. Small steps every day lead to big results. If you practice 5 minutes today, 5 minutes tomorrow, and 5 minutes the next day, after 1 month, your English will improve a lot. Speaking a little every day is better than studying 1 hour only once a week. Habits are more powerful than motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but good habits stay. When you speak, try to imagine you are telling a story to a friend. Use feelings. Say, I was happy because I saw my friend. Or, I was tired, but I walked outside. When you use emotions in your speech, your English becomes alive. Learning with feelings makes memory stronger. Do not worry about perfection. You do not need to speak like a native speaker. Even native speakers make mistakes. The important thing is to communicate. If someone understands you, you are already successful. Fluency is not about being perfect. It is about being understood. Always try small exercises that you can do every day. Describe what you see around you. Look at a cup of coffee and say, I am drinking coffee. I like coffee. The coffee is hot and smells good. Look at your phone and say, I check my messages. I write a reply. I read news. These simple sentences connect your mind to English and make your speaking automatic. Listening is very important too. Listen to short stories, podcasts, or videos. Try to understand the main idea first. Then listen again and pay attention to small words. Listen one more time and notice how the speaker speaks. Tone, speed, and emotion. Repetition is the mother of learning. Every time you listen, your brain understands English better and faster. Remember to celebrate small successes. Every new word, every correct sentence, and every moment when you understand someone is progress. Success is made of small victories. Even if you feel tired or slow, keep going. Every small effort counts. You can also practice speaking alone. Talk about your plans, your family, or your hobbies. Speak about your morning, your afternoon, and your evening. Describe your feelings and what you see. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. The more you speak, the more confident you become. Learning English is a journey, not a race. Each day you practice, you move forward. Every little step counts. Keep a notebook. Write new words and sentences. Repeat them aloud. Try to think in English during the day. For example, when you see your cat, think, the cat is sleeping. It is very cute. These small thoughts help your brain stay in English. By practicing this way, your English will grow naturally. You will speak more smoothly. You will understand more when people talk. You will feel confident to speak in real life. Consistency beats talent every time. Even small actions done every day create big results over time. You can do this. Believe in yourself. Keep practicing. Every day is a chance to improve. Remember, speak, listen, and think in English. Little by little, step by step, you will become fluent. Your English is growing every day, even if you do not see it right away. Keep going because you are capable. The journey may be long, but every step forward is success. Before we start, make sure you subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon. This way, you will never miss new videos that help you learn English. Now, relax, take a deep breath, and get ready. Today, we will practice English step by step from the moment you wake up in the morning until you go to sleep at night. This lesson will help you speak naturally and feel more confident. When you wake up in the morning, the first words you can say are very simple. They are small but very useful. You can say, I woke up at 7 o'clock, or I usually wake up early in the morning. If you want to sound more natural, you can also say, I got up at 7:30. Notice the difference. Wake up means when your eyes open. Get up means when you leave the bed and stand up. Many learners make mistakes with these words, but now you understand the difference. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. I woke up at 7 o'clock. I got up at 7:30. I usually wake up early. Good. Now try again, but think about your own life. If you usually wake up at 9, say, I woke up at 9. If you wake up later on weekends, you can say, on weekends I usually wake up late. When you connect English phrases to your life, it is easier to remember them. After waking up, many people like to talk about how they feel. You can say, I felt tired when I woke up, or I felt fresh and ready for the day. Another way is, I was still sleepy, or I was full of energy this morning. These phrases describe your mood and your energy at the start of the day. Repeat slowly first and then try a little faster. This helps your English sound smoother. Now imagine you are telling a friend about your morning routine in English. Start simple. I woke up at 7. I brushed my teeth. I washed my face. I made my bed. This is a basic but natural description. If you want to sound more advanced, you can add a reason. For example, I woke up at 7 because I had to go to work. I woke up early because I wanted to exercise before breakfast. Adding a reason makes your English sound richer and more complete. Here is a small exercise for you. Think of 3 things you usually do after waking up. Maybe you brush your teeth, make coffee, or check your phone. Now, describe them in English in one long sentence. For example, after I woke up, I brushed my teeth, made my bed, and checked my phone. Try it now with your own morning activities. Speak slowly and clearly. You can even smile while you speak. Remember, practicing small steps every day is the secret to improving your English. Little by little, one day at a time, you become fluent. After talking about waking up, let's move to the next part of the morning, freshening up. This means cleaning yourself and getting ready for the day. A very common and simple phrase is, I brushed my teeth. You can also say, I washed my face. If you want to describe more, you can say, I took a shower, or I had a quick shower before breakfast. To make your sentences sound more natural and interesting, you can add small words like quickly, slowly, or carefully. For example, I quickly brushed my teeth. I carefully washed my face. I slowly got dressed for work. These little words help your English sound more like real conversation and show how you do things. Let's practice together. Repeat slowly. I brushed my teeth quickly. I washed my face carefully. I took a shower before breakfast. Great. When you repeat out loud, you train your tongue and your brain to speak English more smoothly. Remember, practice makes progress. Even 2 minutes of practice every morning helps a lot. Now let's talk about getting dressed. You can say, I got dressed for work, or I put on my uniform. If you stay at home, you can say, I wore comfortable clothes at home. Sometimes it's hard to choose what to wear. You can say, I couldn't decide what to wear, or I picked my favorite shirt today. Try saying these examples. I got dressed for work. I put on my uniform. I picked my favorite shirt today. Good job. Repeat these lines a few times until they feel natural. Imagine you're talking to a friend about your real morning. You could say something like, This morning I woke up late, brushed my teeth quickly, and then I had to rush to get dressed. Sounds real, right? This is exactly how people speak in everyday life. Now let's talk about breakfast, one of the most important parts of the morning. You can say, I had breakfast at 8 o'clock. I made some eggs and toast. I drank a cup of coffee. If you didn't eat in the morning, you can say, I skipped breakfast. Or, I wasn't hungry this morning. Here's how you can make your English sound a little more advanced. Instead of just saying, I ate breakfast, you can add more detail. I had a light breakfast with fruit and yogurt. I prepared a big breakfast with pancakes, eggs, and coffee. Adding more detail helps your English sound fuller and more fluent. Now it's your turn. Think about what you usually eat in the morning. Then describe it in English in one full sentence. For example, I usually eat bread and jam with tea in the morning. I often drink coffee and eat cereal before going to work. Say your sentence 3 times out loud. Feel the rhythm of your words and imagine you're already fluent. Every time you practice, you take one small step closer to your goal. Remember this quote: Success doesn't come from what you do once in a while, it comes from what you do every day. Even short daily English practice will change your skills completely over time. Keep going. You're doing amazing. After breakfast, it's time to get ready for the day ahead. Maybe you prepare for work, school, or something else. You can describe this part of your morning with simple and natural sentences. For example, I left the house at 8:30. I went to the office. I took the bus to school. These short sentences help you sound clear and confident. Try saying them slowly first, then a bit faster. Remember, confidence grows with practice. The more you speak, the easier it becomes. As someone once said, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. To sound more natural, you can use different expressions. Instead of, I went to work, say, I headed to work at 9, or I drove to the office this morning. If you use public transport, say, I caught the bus, or I took the subway downtown. Adding small details makes your English sound more fluent and real. Imagine your own routine and describe it. I usually walk to school because it's close to my house, or I drive to work because the bus takes too long. When you speak about your life, the language feels more natural, and your brain starts to think in English. On the way to work or school, you can also describe what happens. For example, the traffic was heavy this morning. The bus was crowded today. Or more advanced, it took me longer than usual because of traffic. The train was delayed, so I arrived late. These little details make your sentences sound real and full of life. Think about your own morning. Was it calm or busy? Try describing it in English. Each time you do this, you train your speaking muscles and your confidence grows. Now, imagine you've arrived at work or school. You can say, I started work at 9. I attended a meeting in the morning. I had a class at 10. If you want to make your sentences richer, add small details. I started work at 9 by checking my emails. I had a class at 10 where we studied history. I attended a meeting in the morning to discuss a new project. These details help paint a picture in the listener's mind. Remember, language is not only about words, it's about how you express your life. Here's your short exercise. Think about what you do first when you arrive. Maybe you greet your friends, turn on your computer, or get a cup of coffee. Try to say it in English, like this. When I arrived at work, I greeted my colleagues and turned on my computer. Or, when I arrived at school, I talked with my friends before class. Repeat your sentences aloud 2 or 3 times. Your voice is your most powerful learning tool. And remember, every day you practice, you are improving. Even if it's just a few minutes, it matters. Keep going, stay consistent, and never doubt your progress. You're doing better than you think. During the late morning, people often work or study until lunchtime. You can describe this with simple, natural phrases. I was busy with my work. I studied English for 2 hours. I finished some important tasks before lunch. Repeat after me. I was busy with my work. I studied English for 2 hours. I finished some important tasks before lunch. If you want to sound more advanced, you can connect your sentences. For example, I was busy with my work, so I didn't have time for a break. I studied English for 2 hours and then I took a short rest. I finished some important tasks before lunch, which made me feel productive. Words like so, and then, and which made help your speech flow more naturally. Let's practice shadowing. I was busy with my work, so I didn't have time for a break. I studied English for 2 hours and then I took a short rest. I finished some important tasks before lunch, which made me feel productive. Now let's move to lunchtime. You can say, I had lunch at 12:30, or I ate lunch with my coworkers. Another option, I went to a restaurant for lunch, or I brought my lunch from home. Repeat after me. I had lunch at 12:30. I ate lunch with my coworkers. I went to a restaurant for lunch. To add more detail, describe your food. I had rice and chicken for lunch, or I ate a sandwich and drank some juice. A more advanced version, I had rice and chicken for lunch and it was delicious. I ate a sandwich and drank some juice and it made me feel refreshed. These extra words make your sentences richer. Practice exercise. Think about what you ate yesterday for lunch and describe it in English. For example, yesterday I had pasta with vegetables and it tasted great. Or, I ate a salad and drank water because I wanted something light. Make your own sentence and repeat it 2 or 3 times aloud. After lunch, the day usually continues with work, study, or other important activities. You can describe this by saying, I went back to work after lunch. I returned to class at 1 o'clock. I continued studying in the afternoon. These are simple but clear phrases that show the flow of your day. Let's practice together. I went back to work after lunch. I returned to class at 1 o'clock. I continued studying in the afternoon. To sound more advanced, connect ideas. I went back to work after lunch and finished writing a report. I returned to class at 1 o'clock and listened to the teacher carefully. I continued studying in the afternoon because I had an exam the next day. Adding reasons or details makes your English sound complete and natural. Here's a practice exercise. Think about what you normally do after lunch. Do you go back to work? Do you take a short nap? Do you study? Make one full sentence in English about it. For example, after lunch, I usually drink some tea and then go back to work. Or, after lunch, I take a short rest before continuing my studies. Try creating your own sentence and repeat it 3 times aloud. In the afternoon, many people describe how busy or relaxed they were. You can say, I was very busy in the afternoon. I worked on a new project. I had an English lesson after lunch. To sound more advanced, add details. I was very busy in the afternoon because of an important deadline. I worked on a new project that required a lot of focus. I had an English lesson after lunch, which helped me improve my vocabulary. Let's shadow these sentences together. I was very busy in the afternoon because of an important deadline. I worked on a new project that required a lot of focus. I had an English lesson after lunch, which helped me improve my vocabulary. Repeat slowly at first, then again at a natural speed. Now let's talk about small breaks in the afternoon. You can say, I took a short break. I had a cup of coffee in the afternoon. I chatted with my coworkers for a few minutes to expand. You can say, I took a short break in the afternoon to relax my mind. I had a cup of coffee because I was feeling sleepy. I chatted with my coworkers for a few minutes before starting work again. These small details make your English sound fluent. Practice this. Imagine you are in the middle of your afternoon. What do you usually do for a short break? Make a sentence about it in English. For example, I usually drink green tea in the afternoon to feel refreshed. Or, I walk outside for 10 minutes to get some fresh air. Try your own version and repeat it aloud 2 or 3 times. Now let's think about afternoon tasks in more detail. You can say, I answered some emails in the afternoon. I studied for my exam. I joined an online meeting. These are everyday activities that sound natural in English. To add more detail, I answered some emails in the afternoon and organized my work schedule. I studied for my exam by reviewing the notes from class. I joined an online meeting where we discussed our goals for the week. Let's practice shadowing these longer sentences. I answered some emails in the afternoon and organized my work schedule. I studied for my exam by reviewing the notes from class. I joined an online meeting where we discussed our goals for the week. Shadowing like this builds fluency and rhythm. Sometimes in the afternoon, you might feel tired or sleepy. You can say, I felt sleepy after lunch. I needed a short rest in the afternoon. I was tired, but I kept working. A more advanced version. I felt sleepy after lunch, so I took a short break. I needed a short rest in the afternoon because I had been working since morning. I was tired, but I kept working because I wanted to finish everything on time. These expressions sound natural in real life. After lunch, many people continue with their afternoon. You can describe it in simple English. For example, yesterday I felt sleepy after lunch, so I drank a cup of coffee. Or last week I was very tired in the afternoon because I had too many classes. Try making your own sentence and say it out loud. By late afternoon, people usually finish their work or school. You can say, I finished work at 5 o'clock. I completed my homework before dinner. I left the office at 6. A more detailed version could be, I finished work at 5 o'clock and felt happy to go home. I completed my homework before dinner, so I had free time in the evening. I left the office at 6 after a long, busy day. Repeat these sentences slowly, then a little faster to feel the flow. When the work or school day ends, the evening begins. You can say, I came home in the evening. I returned home after work. I arrived home at 6:30. To make it more advanced, you can add feelings or reasons. I came home in the evening feeling tired but happy. I returned home after work and immediately changed my clothes. I arrived home at 6:30 because the traffic was heavy. Longer sentences like this make your English sound more natural and fluent. Evenings often include relaxing. You can say, I rested for a while after getting home. I sat on the sofa and relaxed. I listened to some music in the evening. A more detailed version could be, I rested for a while after getting home because I had a busy day. I sat on the sofa and relaxed while watching TV. I listen to some music in the evening to feel calm and peaceful. Repeat these sentences slowly, then try at a more natural speed. Evenings can also include spending time with family or friends. You can say, I had dinner with my family. I talked with my parents in the evening. I called a friend after work. These are simple, natural sentences that describe everyday life. In the evening, people often spend time with family or friends. You can say, I had dinner with my family and we talked about our day. I talked with my parents in the evening, which made me feel happy. I called a friend after work to make plans for the weekend. To practice, think about your own evening yesterday. Did you eat with your family? Did you talk to a friend? For example, yesterday I had dinner with my family and we laughed a lot. Or last night I called my best friend and we spoke for an hour. Make your own sentence and repeat it aloud. Dinner can be described in more detail. You can say, I had dinner at 8 o'clock. I ate rice and vegetables for dinner. I ordered pizza in the evening. To sound more advanced, try, I had dinner at 8 o'clock after finishing my work. I ate rice and vegetables for dinner, which was both healthy and filling. I ordered pizza in the evening because I didn't feel like cooking. Practice shadowing these sentences. I had dinner at 8 o'clock after finishing my work. I ate rice and vegetables for dinner, which was both healthy and filling. I ordered pizza in the evening because I didn't feel like cooking. Repeat with your own dinner in mind. Evenings are also perfect for hobbies. You can say, I read a book after dinner. I watched a movie at night. I played a game on my phone. To make it more advanced, add details. I read a book after dinner to relax my mind. I watched a movie at night with my family. I played a game on my phone for half an hour before going to bed. Practice exercise. Think about your favorite evening activity. Maybe it's reading, watching TV, or exercising. Put it into a full sentence. I usually read a few pages of a book after dinner. Or I often watch a TV show in the evening to relax. Say your own version aloud 3 times. Sometimes people meet friends or go outside in the evening. You can say, I went out with my friends. I visited a cafe in the evening. I took a walk after dinner. A more advanced version, I went out with my friends to celebrate a birthday. I visited a cafe in the evening and enjoyed some coffee. I took a walk after dinner to get some fresh air. Adding these small details makes your English sound alive, natural, and full of real-life feeling. As the evening comes to an end, people often start preparing for bed. You can say, I went to bed at 10:30. I brushed my teeth before sleeping. I put on my pajamas. These are simple, everyday sentences. To make them more advanced, add feelings or reasons. I went to bed at 10:30, feeling tired but satisfied after a productive day. I brushed my teeth carefully because I want to take care of my health. I put on my pajamas and got ready to relax for the night. Repeat these sentences aloud to practice fluency. Nighttime routines can also include relaxing activities. You can say, I read a book before sleeping. I listened to calm music. I meditated for a few minutes. To sound richer, I read a few pages of a novel before sleeping to calm my mind. I listened to calm music while lying in bed. I meditated for 5 minutes to feel peaceful before going to sleep. Shadow these sentences slowly at first, then at a normal speed. People often reflect on their day at night. You can say, I thought about my day. I remembered the things I did today. I felt happy about my achievements. A more advanced version, I thought about my day and felt proud of the work I finished. I remembered the things I learned and the small moments that made me smile. I felt happy about my achievements and thankful for the day. Reflection like this helps you not only improve English, but also build confidence and motivation. Before sleeping, some people prepare for the next day. You can say, I set my alarm for tomorrow. I prepared my clothes for work. I wrote a to-do list. To make it more advanced, I set my alarm for 7 o'clock to wake up early. I prepared my clothes for work to save time in the morning. I wrote a to-do list to organize my tasks and feel ready for the next day. Repeat aloud. I set my alarm for 7 a.m. to wake up early. I prepared my clothes for work to save time in the morning. I wrote a to-do list to organize my tasks and feel ready for the next day. Finally, you can describe falling asleep naturally. You can say, I went to sleep at 11 o'clock. I felt relaxed. I dreamed about good things. A richer version. I went to sleep at 11 o'clock feeling calm and peaceful. I thought about happy moments from the day and slowly drifted into sleep. I dreamed about my future goals, feeling motivated to continue improving. Remember, practicing these sentences aloud every night can train your brain to think in English automatically. Even small daily routines, when described in English, build vocabulary, fluency, and confidence. Every evening, you have an opportunity to practice and grow. Motivation is key. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. Start with your daily routines in English, and over time, your speaking will feel natural and confident. Practice consistently. Repeat sentences aloud. Shadow your own voice, and connect ideas with details. Your brain learns faster when English becomes part of your real life, from morning to night. I changed into my pajamas and felt comfortable immediately. I put on comfortable clothes at night so I could relax fully. I prepared my bed before lying down to make sure I would sleep well. I turned off the lights and felt calm as I lay down. I took a few deep breaths and thought about the good moments from my day. I reminded myself of my achievements and felt grateful. Shadow these sentences slowly at first, then again at a natural speed. Try to feel the rhythm and emotion in your voice. Remember, connecting your feelings with what you say makes your English sound real and confident. Before sleeping, you can also describe small habits. I read a few pages of a book to relax. I listened to soft music while lying in bed. I drank a glass of water because I was thirsty. A more advanced way, I read a few pages of a novel to calm my mind and prepare for sleep. I listened to soft music while reflecting on my day. I drank a glass of water to feel refreshed and ready for rest. Now describe falling asleep naturally. I closed my eyes and felt peaceful. I thought about tomorrow's plans. I slowly drifted off to sleep. A richer version. I closed my eyes and felt peaceful, thinking about the things I had accomplished today. I reviewed my goals for tomorrow and felt motivated. I slowly drifted off to sleep, feeling calm, satisfied, and ready for a new day. Practice exercise. Think about your real bedtime routine. Make one long sentence describing everything you do before sleeping, adding feelings or reasons. For example, before bed, I brushed my teeth, changed into my pajamas, read a few pages of a book, and reflected on my day, feeling calm and proud of what I accomplished. Repeat your sentence aloud 3 times. Motivation tip: small daily actions lead to big results over time. Each night, when you describe your day in English, you strengthen your vocabulary, sentence structure, and fluency. Shadowing your own routine trains your brain to think in English naturally. Consistent practice turns simple routines into powerful learning moments. By practicing morning, afternoon, evening, and night routines in English, you are not only improving fluency, but also building confidence to speak about your life in any situation. I woke up at 7 and felt fresh and ready for the day. I brushed my teeth and washed my face carefully. I made my bed and prepared breakfast. I had a cup of coffee and some eggs, which gave me energy for the morning. I left the house at 8:30, caught the bus to work, and thought about the tasks ahead. At work, I started with checking emails and organizing my schedule. I attended a meeting in the morning and worked on an important project. I felt focused and productive. During a short break, I drank coffee and chatted with my colleagues. After lunch, I continued studying and completing tasks, reviewing notes to improve my English. In the late afternoon, I finished my work and felt relieved. I returned home, changed into comfortable clothes, and relaxed for a while. I listened to music, read a little, and reflected on my day. I remembered the good moments and felt thankful for my achievements. In the evening, I had dinner with my family, sharing stories and laughing together. I went for a short walk to get fresh air and called a friend to make plans for the weekend. Finally, I prepared for bed. I brushed my teeth, washed my face, changed into pajamas, and got into bed. I thought about everything I accomplished and planned for tomorrow. I felt sleepy after a long day and fell asleep peacefully, ready for a new day. Practice exercise. Tell your own full day story in English. Include details about your feelings, actions, and small moments. For example, today I woke up early, had breakfast, studied English, worked on a project, relaxed in the evening, and went to bed feeling happy and proud. Remember, describing your entire day in English every night strengthens fluency, vocabulary, and confidence. The more you practice, the more natural your English becomes. Small daily actions create big improvements over time. Shadow this story, repeat it aloud, and imagine yourself living it while speaking. Storytelling is a very powerful way to practice English naturally. Instead of just listing actions, you create a story with a beginning, middle, and end. For example, you can say, "Today I woke up at 7 and felt full of energy. I brushed my teeth quickly and had a cup of coffee with breakfast. Then I went to work, feeling a little nervous because I had a meeting. I attended the meeting, shared my ideas, and finished some important tasks. During lunch, I ate with my colleagues and felt happy because we laughed a lot. In the afternoon, I worked on a new project and took a short break to rest my mind. After finishing work, I went home, changed into comfortable clothes, and relaxed. I had dinner with my family, watched a movie, and finally went to bed at 11 feeling calm and satisfied with my day. Notice how this story connects actions, feelings, and time. This makes your English more natural, fluent, and easy to understand. Practice exercise. Tell your own story about today or yesterday. Include what you did, how you felt, and small details like meals, breaks, or activities. Try connecting your sentences using words like then, after that, because, so, and which. This makes your story flow better. Add emotions to your sentences. For example, I studied English happily because I enjoyed the lesson, or I walked in the park feeling tired but relaxed. Motivational tip. Storytelling in English is not about perfection. It's about practice and expression. Each time you tell your story, your fluency improves and your vocabulary grows naturally. Remember, the more you tell your story, the more confident you become in English. Instead of just saying what you did, try telling it like a story. For example, this morning I woke up late because my alarm did not ring. I quickly brushed my teeth and I did not eat breakfast. Then I ran to work. I was late, but my boss was not angry. After lunch, I worked on a big project and I finished it in the afternoon. In the evening, I relaxed with my family and went to bed feeling happy and proud. Notice how we can use words like because, then, but, and finally. These words make your English sound like real talking. Practice exercise. Try to tell a story about one of your days. Add feelings and connection words. For example, yesterday I was tired because I worked late. In the morning, I did not want to wake up, but I had to. After lunch, I felt better. And in the evening, I was happy because I saw my friend. Try your own story and say it out loud. Now let's practice future tense. You can say, tomorrow I will wake up early. Tomorrow afternoon I will study English. Tomorrow evening I will have dinner with my family. More advanced, tomorrow I will wake up early because I want to exercise. Tomorrow afternoon I will study English to prepare for my test. Tomorrow evening I will have dinner with my family and I will talk about my plans for the weekend. Practice with me. Tomorrow I will wake up early because I want to exercise. Tomorrow afternoon I will study English to prepare for my test. Tomorrow evening I will have dinner with my family and I will talk about my weekend plans. Repeat slowly, then try faster. Exercise. Try to say your whole plan for tomorrow in English. Imagine you tell a friend. For example, tomorrow morning I will wake up at 7. Then I will go to school. In the evening I will meet my cousin. Make your own plan and say it 3 times. Now let's practice past tense more. Instead of just saying I ate breakfast, you can say I ate breakfast at 8 and I enjoyed toast with jam. Instead of I studied in the afternoon, you can say I studied in the afternoon and I read my English notes carefully. Shadow these with me. I ate breakfast at 8 and enjoyed toast with jam. I studied in the afternoon and read my English notes carefully. I went to bed at 11 after watching a relaxing show. Repeat until it feels natural. By practicing past, present, and future tenses, you can talk about time naturally in English. You can tell about your day, yesterday, and tomorrow, all in English. Sometimes things do not go as planned. In English, you can say, I missed the bus in the morning. I forgot my homework. I lost my keys. These are short and natural sentences. Great. Now you have a full practice for past, present, and future. Keep practicing every day, and your English will become more natural and confident. Remember, small steps every day make a big difference. Keep speaking, keep learning, and enjoy the process. See you next time, and have a wonderful day. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. If you are new here, this place helps you learn English every day. You can listen to short stories, practice listening, and see examples of how people speak. This helps you speak English better and understand it more easily. Today, we will talk about how to improve speaking and understanding English. I will share simple tips, real-life stories, and examples. These will help you understand English conversations and speak more confidently. Let's start with something easy. A few years ago, I was learning a new language. I could read and write well, but when people spoke fast, I did not understand. My mind stopped. Many learners have the same problem in English. You can know many words, but when people speak quickly, it is hard to follow. Today, I will show you how to train your brain to understand English naturally. One good way to understand better is to listen actively. Active listening means paying attention to the meaning, not every single word. For example, someone tried to translate every word in their head when they listened to English. They got tired quickly and stopped. Later, they learned to listen for important words and guess the rest from the situation. After a few months, they understood English much better. Here is a small exercise you can try. When you listen to English, maybe a short story or a podcast, do not stop if you do not know a word. Keep listening and try to understand the main idea. For example, if you hear, I rushed to catch the bus because it started raining. Even if you do not know the word rushed, you can guess it means to hurry. This is how your brain learns naturally. Now, let's talk about speaking. Many learners can understand English well, but they feel nervous when they try to speak. One common reason is thinking too much about grammar. Some learners try to plan every word in their head before speaking. They speak correctly, but very slowly. It is better to speak more and worry about grammar later. Mistakes are normal. Every mistake helps you improve. Another useful method is called shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a short audio and repeating it right after, copying the sounds and rhythm. I use this method to practice English pronunciation. I remember repeating a news report many times until I could speak like the person on the radio. It was hard at first, but after a few days, I started to sound more natural. You can do the same with any English material you like. Here is a story that shows how listening and speaking help each other. A few years ago, a man learned English alone in a small town. He had no teacher and no classes. Every morning he listened to English on the radio while cooking breakfast. Every evening he talked to himself in English about his day. At first, his sentences were short and simple. Slowly, he became more confident. After 1 year, he could have a full conversation without stopping. You can do the same at home. Try to describe your day out loud. For example, say, I woke up early, made breakfast for my family, and went to work. The more you talk about your daily routine in English, the more natural it becomes. Here is another useful idea. Repeat short phrases that you hear in daily conversations. For example, if someone says, "That sounds great," say it several times until it feels natural. These short and common phrases make your English sound smoother and more like a native speaker. Let's talk about understanding English again. Sometimes native speakers connect words when they speak. This is called connected speech. For example, instead of saying, "What are you doing?" they may say, "What you doing?" It can be confusing at first, but listening often will help you notice these patterns. You can also slow down recordings and repeat what you hear. Another challenge is understanding different accents. For example, when visiting a new city, you may hear people speaking English in different ways. Some accents may be hard to understand at first. The key is not to get frustrated. Listen carefully to the rhythm and the main words. After some time, it becomes easier to follow conversations. The lesson is, do not panic if you do not understand everything right away. Give yourself time. Now let's talk about confidence when speaking. Confidence does not mean speaking perfectly. It means saying your thoughts clearly, even if you make mistakes. Some learners are afraid to speak because of their accent. Remember, your accent is part of you, and what really matters is communication. With a little practice, you can start speaking in meetings, at work, or with friends. People will respect your effort and support you. Another good way to improve is to use English in your daily life. For example, change your phone language to English or read product instructions in English. When learning a new language, changing small things like phone settings helps you learn common words like settings, notifications, and battery. You can do the same for English. These small steps help your brain stay in English mode. Let me share one more story. A woman started learning English when she was 50 years old. She wanted to speak with her family member who came from another country. At first, it was hard for her to understand his accent, but she did not give up. She listened to podcasts in English every day while doing housework. She did not study grammar much. She just listened and repeated sentences she liked. After 6 months, she could have a full conversation in English with her family. It was one of the happiest moments of her life. You see, getting better in English does not come only from grammar books. It comes from listening, speaking, and practicing regularly. If you practice every day, even for 15 minutes, you can see big progress in a few months. Now, let's do a small speaking exercise together. I will say a short story, and you can repeat it after me. For example, yesterday, I went to the market. I bought fresh vegetables and talked to the shopkeeper about cooking. he gave me a new recipe to try. Now, try to repeat this story out loud. When you do exercises like this every day, you practice pronunciation, memory, and speaking fluently. Speaking English is like training a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Do not wait for a perfect moment or perfect grammar. Just start now. Listening, speaking, and understanding English are connected. When you listen actively, your speaking improves naturally because you start thinking in English. The key is to be around English every day. Listen to short stories, talk about your day, repeat what you hear, and practice patiently. The most powerful habit to improve English is daily exposure. The more English you hear, the more your brain learns the rhythm, sounds, and sentence structures. Imagine it like tuning your ear. At first, everything may sound fast or confusing, but after listening often, you start to recognize patterns, phrases, and even the feelings behind words. One time, a student worked in customer service. She had to speak English every day with international clients, but she often froze during calls. She could understand written English easily, but listening was hard. I suggested she listen to English podcasts for at least 15 minutes every morning. After 3 weeks, she noticed she could understand faster and answer more naturally during calls. The secret was not studying harder, but listening regularly without pressure. Another student had the opposite problem. He could understand English movies and podcasts very well, but he could not say his ideas clearly. He said, "I know what I want to say, but I cannot find the right words fast enough." I told him to use English in simple ways every day. For example, he could describe what he was doing in English. When cooking, he could say, "I am chopping onions," or "I am boiling water." After a few weeks, he could speak faster because he practiced with real actions and real words. The secret to improving English is to bring it into your daily life. It is not about studying many hours. It is about using English naturally. When you speak to yourself, listen to English, or read a short text out loud, your brain connects words, sounds, and meanings. That is how fluency grows. Now let's talk about pronunciation and rhythm. Many learners think pronunciation is only about sounds, but it is also about how words connect. Native speakers often join words together when they speak. For example, instead of saying, "I am going to," they might say, "I'm going to." Understanding these connections helps you follow conversations better. When I was living in another country, a colleague spoke English fluently, but his sentences sounded very formal because he separated every word. I suggested he listen to natural conversations and repeat them with the same rhythm. After a few weeks, his speech sounded smoother. He did not change his accent, but his tone became more natural and his confidence grew. Confidence in speaking is something you can build slowly. Start with short sentences. It is okay to make mistakes. If you make a mistake, correct yourself gently and keep speaking. Remember, every native speaker made mistakes when they were children. Language learners go through the same process, and mistakes are normal. Mistakes help you learn faster than trying to be perfect. So, do not be afraid to speak. One thing that really helps is practicing with real emotions. When you speak, do not just say the words, say them with feeling. For example, if you say, "I am happy," try to sound happy. If you say, "I was tired," speak slowly and sound relaxed. This makes your English sound alive and natural. It also helps your brain connect words with real-life feelings, which improves memory and understanding. Let's talk about understanding English in real life. If someone speaks and you miss a word, do not panic. Focus on the main idea, not every single word. For example, if someone says, "We might need to reschedule our meeting because the manager is out today," and you do not know reschedule, You can still understand that the meeting will happen later. Stay calm and listen for clues. When learning, it is very helpful to ask questions. If you do not understand something, ask, "Can you repeat that?" Or, "What does that mean?" Doing this regularly will help you improve faster than only studying from books. Remember, communication is not about knowing every word. It is about understanding and responding naturally. You can do this. To sound more confident, practice using connecting words. Words like however, actually, by the way, in my opinion, to be honest, and for example, help your sentences flow smoothly. For example, instead of saying, "I like tea, I don't like coffee," you can say, "I like tea. However, I don't really enjoy coffee." Small changes like this make your speech sound better and more natural. Storytelling is another great way to improve both speaking and understanding. When you tell a story, your brain practices organizing ideas, using past tense, and describing events clearly. Try to describe real experiences, like a family event or a trip. Remember, every time you practice, you get stronger. Keep going. You are doing great. One learner told me about a time her family surprised her with a picnic in the park. She described the weather, the smell of the food, and how everyone laughed together. As she spoke, she naturally learned new words because she needed them to explain her feelings and actions. This is how storytelling helps your English grow without forcing it. Keep telling your own stories. Every word you use makes you stronger. Another important point is to practice listening for emotion and tone. Sometimes people say one thing but mean something else depending on how they speak. For example, if someone says, "That's interesting," in a happy, high voice, they really like it. But if they say the same words slowly or in a flat voice, they might be bored. Understanding tone helps you understand real conversations better. You can do this too. Let me give another example. One learner was very good at grammar, but often did not understand jokes or sarcasm. For example, when someone said, "Oh, great." Another meeting, they were joking, but he thought they were happy. After practicing tone and expressions, he started to understand these hidden meanings. Listening to tone is just as important as listening to words. Here is a helpful daily routine you can follow. Step 1. Listen to 5 minutes of natural English every day. It can be a story, a podcast, or short news. Step 2. Repeat some sentences out loud and try to copy the speaker's rhythm. Step 3. Write a few new words and make your own sentences with them. Step 4. Talk about what you heard, even if you are alone. Doing this every day will make your listening and speaking stronger. For example, imagine you listen to a story about a farmer. He wakes up early, takes care of his animals, and enjoys working outside. You can describe it in your own words, repeat sentences, and use new words. Step by step, your English will improve, and you will feel more confident. Keep practicing. You are doing amazing. After listening, you can repeat sentences like, "David wakes up early," "He takes care of his animals," "He enjoys working outdoors." Then you can make your own version. "I wake up early too. I go for a walk. I enjoy the fresh air." This kind of practice helps connect listening and speaking naturally. One big mistake learners make is comparing themselves to native speakers. Remember, fluency is not about being perfect. It is about communicating. Native speakers make mistakes too, so do not be afraid to sound imperfect. Your goal is to be understood, not to sound like a dictionary. You can do it. A strong way to learn is to think in English. Try to replace your inner voice with English. When you walk, think, "The weather is nice today," When you cook, think, I need to add more salt. These small daily thoughts help your brain speak English automatically. Every day you practice, your sentences become easier and faster. Some learners felt strange thinking in English at first, but after a few weeks, it became natural. Now they can speak smoothly without stopping. This shows that training your mind is very powerful. Let's talk about listening to real conversations. Choose content that is not too easy and not too hard. If you understand everything, it is too simple. If you understand nothing, it is too hard. The best level is when you understand about 70% of what you hear. This keeps your brain active but not frustrated. You can use subtitles at first, but later try without them. Even short daily interactions help a lot. For example, a shop assistant learned English by talking to customers every day. At first, she only understood half of what people said, but later she could answer easily. This shows that small daily practice works if you are consistent. Consistency is the real secret. 5 minutes every day is better than 1 hour once a week. When you practice daily, English becomes part of your life. Just like brushing your teeth, learning English can become automatic. You do not need to wait for motivation. Habit will help you. For example, a retired man started learning English by listening to short news stories in the morning and repeating them to his family in the evening. After 6 months, his speaking and understanding improved a lot. The secret was not talent, but daily practice. You can do this too. Keep going. You are getting better every day. If you ever feel tired or stuck, remember why you started learning English. Maybe you want a better job, to travel, or to speak with people from other countries. Keeping your goal in mind gives you energy and helps you continue. Learning English is a journey, not a race. Every day you practice, you take one small step forward. When you hear new words, try to connect them with images or stories. For example, if you learn the word generous, imagine someone sharing food or helping others. This helps you remember words faster. I still remember how I learned the word patience. My teacher said, "Patience is waiting without complaining." That short sentence stayed in my mind for many years because it had meaning. Learning a language is not only about words, it is also about understanding life in a new way. When you practice listening and speaking every day, you begin to see small changes. At first, you might understand only simple sentences. Soon, your brain starts connecting words faster. You begin noticing phrases, tone, and rhythm without thinking too much. This is how real comprehension grows, naturally, with regular practice. One learner worked in a small office where most people spoke her native language, but her manager spoke English. At first, she understood the main idea of his instructions, but missed some details. This made her nervous. Instead of giving up, she started listening to English for 10 minutes every night before bed. She listened to simple podcasts and repeated short parts out loud. After 1 month, she could understand her manager clearly, even when he spoke fast. She said, "Now I don't panic. My brain just catches the meaning." This shows that even 10 or 15 minutes a day can make a big difference if you focus on meaning and context. Another helpful practice is describing pictures or situations out loud. For example, look at a picture of a park. Say what you see. A family is sitting on the grass. Two children are playing with a ball. The sun is shining. Doing this every day helps your brain connect words, pictures, and ideas, and makes your English stronger. Keep practicing. You are improving every day, and small steps lead to big results. This exercise helps your fluency because you learn to use simple sentences naturally. When you describe things out loud, you build speaking confidence and vocabulary at the same time. One learner worked at a hotel reception and learned English while talking to guests. The first few weeks were the hardest because guests spoke quickly and used many new phrases. He decided to write down useful expressions after every shift. For example, he wrote, "Could you please fill out this form?" and "Let me check your booking." Every evening, he read them out loud before going to sleep. After 6 months, he no longer needed his notes because the phrases became part of his natural speech. The lesson is simple. Repetition builds memory. When you repeat useful phrases regularly, they stay in your mind and appear naturally in real conversations. You can do this too. Now, let's talk about giving longer answers. Many learners give very short answers like yes, no, or I like it. These are correct, but they don't help you improve. Try to add a reason or example. For example, instead of saying, "I like it," you can say, "I like it because it helps me relax after work." Or, "I like reading books about nature." These small additions make your speaking richer and more confident. Another learner practiced this method every day. At first, she was shy and gave short answers. I asked her to always add one more detail. After a few weeks, her sentences became much longer and more complete. She said, "I like cooking because it brings my family together. When I cook, we talk and share stories." This small change made her sound fluent and expressive. Remember, small steps every day lead to big progress. You can do it. Let's talk about vocabulary in real situations. You don't need to memorize long lists of words. Instead, learn words in context. For example, if you learn the word deliver, connect it with phrases like deliver a package, deliver food, or deliver a message. This helps you remember how to use the word naturally. One learner worked as a delivery person and practiced English with customers. When he delivered a package, he would say simple sentences like, "Here is your order," or "Please sign here." Over time, he started asking polite questions like, "How has your day been?" or "Would you like me to leave it at the door?" His English improved faster than people who only studied grammar because he practiced real-life communication. Real-life practice gives stronger progress. Grammar is important, but natural conversation teaches you how English sounds in daily life. You begin to feel the structure instead of just memorizing it. Another useful method is summarizing what you hear. For example, if you listen to a short story, try to tell it again in your own words. This helps your understanding and speaking at the same time. Imagine this short story. Yesterday, Daniel woke up early to help his wife prepare breakfast. They made pancakes and tea. Then he went to work and helped a new coworker. Now try to retell it. Daniel helped his wife in the morning and made breakfast. Later, he went to work and helped a new coworker. By doing this, you practice listening and speaking together, which makes your English stronger. One learner used this method every day. She listened to short news stories and then explained them to her husband in English. Even though her grammar was not perfect at first, she kept improving because she used English for real communication. You can also use stories from your own life. Talk about what happened yesterday, last week, or last year. Use past tense naturally. For example, last weekend, my family went to visit my parents. We cooked together and talked about old memories. Speaking about real experiences helps you remember words and grammar better. Listening to different accents can also improve comprehension. If you only hear one accent, like American or British, you might get confused when you hear another. Try to listen to speakers from different countries, like Canada, South Africa, or India. Each accent teaches you new rhythms and pronunciations, which makes your listening stronger. For example, One learner only listened to American English. When he met an Australian client, he could not understand anything. I suggested he listen 10 minutes a day to other accents. After 2 months, he could understand different speakers easily. He said, "At first it sounded strange, but now I can catch the meaning quickly." This shows how exposure trains your ear. Another tip is to notice linking words when listening. Words and phrases like "as a result," "even though," "in fact," and "on the other hand" show how ideas connect. For example, if you hear "on the other hand," it means the speaker is showing a contrast. Recognizing these signals makes long conversations and stories easier to follow. Keep practicing every day. You are improving step by step, and your English is becoming stronger and more natural. Let's do a small practice. I will give you a short situation, and you can think about how you would respond. Imagine your friend says, "I find it hard to wake up early for work." You could reply, "I understand, but waking up early helps me stay organized." See how the word "but" changes the idea smoothly. You can also use other connecting words like "so," "because," or "however" to make your speaking flow better. Speaking naturally also means using small expressions like "I mean," and "actually." These make your speech sound relaxed and conversational. For example, "Actually, I think learning English is easier when you listen to real stories. Just remember not to use them too much." Another important skill is paraphrasing. Sometimes you forget a word, but you can explain it with other words. For example, if you forget the word fridge, you can say, "the cold box where we keep food." Paraphrasing helps you keep talking even when you don't know the exact word. Let's talk about listening with focus. It is easy to get distracted, especially with noise around you. To focus better, choose a quiet place to practice. Turn off notifications, close extra tabs, and take a deep breath before you start. Listen with full attention for 5 minutes, then pause and think about what you heard. One learner used to study English while scrolling social media. He said he couldn't remember anything afterwards. When he started focusing completely for short periods, his progress became much faster. You can do this too. Focus a little every day, and your listening will improve quickly. Quality is more important than quantity. When you speak, imagine you are telling a story to someone who doesn't know the topic. Speak clearly and use time words like first, then, after that, and finally. For example, "First, I woke up early. Then I prepared breakfast. After that, I went for a walk." These words help your listener follow your story and make your speaking more organized. Here is another real-life story. One learner wanted to improve her English so she could teach her children at home. She didn't have much time, so she practiced while doing housework. She said, "When I wash the dishes, I listen to English stories. When I fold clothes, I repeat sentences out loud." After a few months, she developed a strong habit and improved her listening and pronunciation. She showed that even small moments can help if you use them wisely. If you want to improve listening and speaking together, try recording yourself. Choose a topic and speak for 2 minutes, then listen to your recording. Notice your pronunciation, rhythm, and pauses. At first, you might feel shy, but this is one of the best ways to see your progress. Another learner recorded himself every week. In the beginning, his voice sounded unsure. After a few months, he spoke with confidence and smooth rhythm. Listening to old recordings gave him motivation because he could hear how much he improved. Remember to celebrate small successes. Every new word, every correct sentence, and every clear understanding is progress. Keep going. You are learning and improving every day. Even if your improvement feels slow, it is still progress. Fluency grows step by step, day by day. When we talk about understanding English better, one important thing is listening with purpose. Listening with purpose means you have a goal before you start. For example, if you listen to a story, your goal might be to understand what happened and why. If you listen to an interview, your goal might be to understand opinions or reasons. When you listen with a goal, your brain works harder and finds the important words faster. One learner was preparing for a job interview in English. At first, he listened to interview recordings but did not understand much. Then he started listening with a question in mind, like, what qualities do they want in a worker? He focused only on the parts that answered the question. Suddenly, he understood much more. He said, "It is like my ears automatically find the right information." This is how focused listening works. It trains your brain to search for meaning, not every single word. Another simple but powerful habit is listening multiple times. Many learners listen only once and move on. But repetition is very important. If you listen to the same audio 2 or 3 times, you understand more each time. The first time you get the main idea. The second time, you notice more details. The third time, you hear pronunciation, tone, and grammar patterns. This builds a strong listening foundation. For example, imagine listening to a short story about a man who opened a small bakery. The first time, you understand only that he opened a bakery. The second time, you notice he had no money at first, but borrowed from a friend. The third time, you notice words like eventually, meanwhile, and finally, which organize the story. Then you understand not only the meaning, but also the rhythm of natural speech. Many learners stop every time they don't know a word. This breaks focus. Instead, keep listening and guess the meaning from the situation. For example, if you hear, "She was exhausted after working all day," even if you don't know the word exhausted, you can guess it means very tired. Context helps you understand naturally. Keep listening every day, even if it is only a little. Your brain will get better at understanding English naturally. Another helpful way to improve both listening and speaking is imitation. Imitation means copying the pronunciation, tone, and speed of native speakers. This helps your mouth get used to English sounds. One learner practiced by listening to short clips from English news. He would pause after each sentence and repeat exactly what he heard. After 2 months, his pronunciation and speaking rhythm became much clearer. He said, "Now I sound more confident because I know how English really feels when I speak it." Confidence grows when you stop worrying about mistakes and focus on communicating. Another learner wanted to speak English to talk with her grandchildren. She said, "I understand what they say, but I am afraid to speak because I make mistakes." I told her, "They don't mind your mistakes. They care about your stories." She started speaking a few sentences every day, even if they were not perfect. After some time, her grandchildren asked her to tell more stories, and her fluency grew naturally. The secret is to speak first and correct later. Perfection comes slowly, but communication should come first. When you speak freely, you build natural fluency and confidence. Now let's talk about listening speed. Native speakers often talk fast, but your brain can adjust. Think of it like exercise. At first, it feels too fast, but if you practice regularly, you will begin to understand even quick conversations. Try this method. Listen to a short audio at normal speed. Then slow it down a little and understand it clearly. Finally, go back to normal speed. Your brain learns faster this way because it gets used to both slow and natural speeds. Keep practicing every day and don't give up. Even small steps make a big difference. When I was learning Spanish, I did a special exercise every morning. At first, native speakers talked very fast, and it sounded like they were speaking 2 times faster than normal. But after weeks of practice every day, I started to understand words and expressions more easily. It became natural. The same thing happens with English. If you listen to English regularly, fast speech will start to feel normal too. Now, let's talk about speaking again. One very good way to improve speaking fluency is the 1-minute talk. You choose a topic, set a timer for 1 minute, and speak without stopping. Don't worry about grammar or mistakes. Just try to keep speaking. You can talk about anything you like, your day, your goals, your work, or something that made you happy. One learner practiced this every day. At first, he could speak only for 20 seconds before stopping. But after a few weeks, he could speak for 2 minutes easily without stopping. His brain started thinking in English because he practiced speaking continuously. Let's do a small example together. Imagine your topic is my favorite day. You can say, my favorite day is Friday because it is the end of the week. I finish work early and spend time with my family. We cook together, share stories, and relax. It helps me feel ready for next week. See, it is simple and natural. Practicing like this trains your speaking muscles and makes you more confident. Another very good exercise is to repeat questions and give different answers. For example, if someone asks, "What do you like about your city?" you can answer in many ways. First, you can say, "I like my city because it is peaceful." Then you can say, "I like it because people are friendly." And another answer could be, "I like it because it has good food." This exercise helps you think in English faster and be flexible with your answers. Many learners ask, how can I remember words easily? The best way is to use new words in sentences. For example, if you learn the word achievement, don't just memorize it. Say, my biggest achievement this year was learning English. Using new words and sentences about your life helps you remember them for a long time. One learner didn't just write words, he wrote full sentences. For example, next to the word confident, he wrote, I feel confident when I speak English slowly and clearly. Every evening, he read his sentences out loud. After 3 months, he could use all these words in conversation easily. Now, let's talk about improving comprehension with prediction. Prediction means guessing what might come next in a sentence or story. When you listen carefully, your brain starts to guess the next idea. For example, if someone says, I didn't have breakfast today, your brain might expect something like, because I woke up late, or because I wasn't hungry. This guessing helps you stay focused and understand better. I worked with a learner who said that when people spoke English quickly, her mind went blank. I taught her to make small guesses while listening. For example, if she heard, we were driving to the beach, and suddenly, she would quickly imagine what might happen next. This small prediction kept her mind active. She told me later, now I can stay focused instead of getting lost. Listening to English in emotional or interesting situations also helps you remember better and understand more naturally. Our brains remember feelings more than plain facts. So, when you hear a story about happiness, surprise, or kindness, you remember the words better. For example, one of my favorite class stories is about a man who lost his wallet and a kind stranger gave it back. Students always remember words like honest, return, and grateful because they are connected with emotions. You can make your own emotional connections too. When you learn a new phrase, think of a real moment in your life that fits it. If you learn the phrase, I was proud of myself, remember a time you did something special, like finishing a project or helping someone. These emotional links help English become part of your real life. Using expressions of feeling also makes your speaking more natural. Phrases like, I was surprised, I felt relieved, I was excited, or it made me smile. Show emotions clearly. For example, instead of saying, it was good, you can say, it made me feel happy because I worked hard for it. These emotional phrases make your stories more alive and interesting. Here is a story that shows this clearly. A few years ago, I met a man who worked as a carpenter. He didn't have English classes, but he wanted to talk with international customers. Every day while working, he listened to English podcasts and repeated sentences he heard. He practiced talking about what he was doing, saying things like, I'm cutting wood, I'm measuring the table, I'm fixing the chair. Slowly, his pronunciation became smoother. When a customer from another country visited, he could explain his work in English clearly. The customer was impressed and gave him more projects. He told me, English changed my job, but also my confidence. His story shows that small daily habits are very powerful. You don't need a classroom or perfect environment. You just need to use English a little every day in real situations. Another important idea is listening and writing together. When you listen to an English story or talk, write short notes about the main points. Don't write every word, just the key ideas. Then read your notes and say them out loud in your own words. This way, you practice listening, writing, and speaking at the same time. One of the best ways to improve is to turn normal daily routines into learning moments. For example, when you make tea or coffee, speak aloud about what you are doing. Say, I am boiling water. I am adding tea leaves. I am pouring the tea into the cup. This may seem simple, but it trains your brain to make sentences automatically and helps you speak more naturally. Over time, these small exercises become habits, and your English starts to feel natural. I once met a man who worked from home. Every morning, while he made breakfast, he described everything in English. At first, he laughed at himself, but after 2 months, he saw a big change. He said, even when I talk to my colleagues online, I don't pause or look for words. My brain finds them automatically. This shows that practicing English every day in simple activities builds confidence slowly. Another helpful technique is telling stories about your day. When you talk about what happened, you use past tense, time words, and connecting words naturally. For example, you can say, this morning, I woke up early. Then I went for a short walk. After that, I made breakfast and called my friend to talk about our plans for the weekend. When you structure your sentences like this, you practice speaking smoothly and also improve comprehension because you remember the order of events. I once had a student who did this every evening. She spent 10 minutes describing her day out loud and sometimes recorded herself. After a few weeks, she spoke more fluently and used more descriptive words. For example, instead of saying, it was nice, she said, I enjoyed the quiet morning air. This shows that using personal stories with descriptive words helps your vocabulary and sentence structure grow. Listening carefully also means noticing details that give extra meaning. For example, if you hear, he left early because he had an important meeting, you understand not only that he left early, but also that the meeting was important. Paying attention to small details like this makes your English stronger. Understanding the meaning behind words is very important when you speak and listen. Sometimes people do not say everything clearly. You have to guess or understand the idea from what they say. I remember a friend who works in a finance office. At first, he could not follow meetings with clients because people spoke indirectly. They did not say the main point directly. He started a new practice. Every day, he listened to business podcasts. He tried to guess what the speaker would say next. After 1 month, he noticed that he could understand the main points and respond correctly. He could predict what people wanted to say. This shows that guessing the next idea while listening can help your brain understand faster and speak naturally. Learning vocabulary is very important too, but it is better to learn words in sentences, not as a long list. For example, the word negotiation can be used in simple sentences like, "We had a negotiation with our supplier yesterday," or, "A successful negotiation needs patience." When words are in sentences, it is easier to remember and use them. I had a student who wrote all new words in a notebook. He also wrote short sentences with the words. Every evening, he read the sentences out loud and made new sentences with the same words. For example, if the word was agreement, he wrote, "We reached an agreement. I signed an agreement. The agreement was finished." After some weeks, he could use these words naturally in different conversations. Repetition and practice in real situations help the brain remember words better. Another useful method is called shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a sentence and speaking at the same time as the speaker. You do not stop to think. You just follow the speaker's rhythm and pronunciation. This helps your mouth get used to English sounds and makes your speaking smoother. Shadowing can be done with news, short stories, or simple podcasts. Start with 1 or 2 sentences. Listen and speak at the same time. Repeat every day. After some weeks, you will notice your pronunciation and speaking speed improving. Shadowing is also very good for listening. You hear words, phrases, and the natural flow of speech. Your brain learns to understand English faster without translating in your head. I taught this method to one of my students. She wanted to improve how she spoke English. She wanted to sound more like a native speaker, with good accent and natural rhythm. I told her to try shadowing every day. She listened to short podcasts and repeated the sentences at the same time as the speaker. At first, she practiced very short sentences. After a few days, she could speak longer sentences. Slowly, her speech became smooth. Her sentences flowed naturally. She became more confident when speaking English because she knew how to say the words correctly. When you do shadowing, pay attention to the tone, stress, and rhythm of the words. These are very important because they show feelings. For example, the sentence, "I can't believe it," can sound very different depending on your feeling. If you are surprised, excited, or frustrated, the sentence changes. Shadowing helps you hear and reproduce these differences. This way, you improve both your listening and speaking at the same time. Another helpful practice is conversation practice. You can imagine real-life situations. For example, imagine you are in a restaurant. You can say, "Hello, I'd like a sandwich, please. Can I have it with salad?" Then switch roles and act as the waiter. You can answer, "Sure. Would you like a drink with that?" Practicing both roles helps you learn faster. One learner I know practiced with his partner every evening. They took turns being the customer and the waiter. After a few weeks, he felt much more confident. He could answer questions naturally. He did not need to stop and think about words. Role playing works very well because it is like real life. It is also important to listen to many different kinds of English content. Do not listen only to one type. Try news, short stories, interviews, and educational videos. Listening to many topics, new words, and different accents helps your brain learn quickly. Your listening skills become stronger, and you can understand more people in real situations. Remember, learning English is a journey. Small daily practices make a big difference over time. Listen every day, speak a little, repeat sentences, and try to use English in your life. Don't worry about mistakes. Every mistake is a lesson and helps you improve. Keep practicing and be patient with yourself. Your confidence and fluency will grow step by step. Celebrate small successes. Every new word, every clear sentence, every conversation is progress. Thank you for learning with me today. I hope you feel motivated to practice a little every day. Keep speaking, keep listening, and enjoy your English journey. Goodbye for now, and I look forward to our next practice together.